for today is to remind you that the line of movement part 2 assignment was due today. And that was where you were adding color to your larger line of movement page. And if you wanted to do an extra credit, another small one in any way you desire, that's awesome too. I will say this over and over again. Remember that zeros are just placeholders, so please be sure to pass in any work that you finish whenever it gets done. Now that we're back on campus, I'm holding what I call Open Studio, which is an opportunity for you to come here during any of your study halls or the extracurricular blocks if you want just to check in and say, hey, Ms. Sylvia, am I doing this right? Or I don't exactly understand what I'm supposed to do for this. Or if you just want a place to work with materials. This floor is my first floor, and I also have a second floor loft. So even if I have a full class down here, I have room upstairs for people to come sit and work. So this week, we're going to start a new project. We're getting into color. Yesterday was a preview with your little color tests. And then next week, what I would like you to bring with you for class is however far you've gotten on this assignment. So you may not 100% get it finished, so we'll get as far as we can. What you have to do in class today probably won't take a whole lot of time. And so then I'll be able to get you started on the homework part. So I'm going to actually jump to the homework part just for a second. So ultimately what you guys are going to be doing is making a small collage with ripped pieces of magazine paper. And so in order to do that, you need magazines and you need to choose some colors and start ripping pages out. So in a lot of your packets, or when you picked up your packets, you had the opportunity to take magazines home with you. And if you didn't, that's totally fine. I've got lots of them here. And you probably will get to this step during class today. So one of the things that we usually spend a fair amount of time on when we're learning about color is all the different aspects of color. And because of this year's program, it's just, we're going to approach it differently than we have in the past. So I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the color wheel, right? You've all seen the 12 colors on the wheel, how they set up. And generally speaking, if you're thinking about colors that are going to look good together, there are some formulas for picking them. So the first is what's called a triad. So any three colors that create a triangle on the wheel will generally look good together. So here's red, here's blue, and here's yellow. So that would create a triangle. And those are what we call primary colors. Most people do know that red, yellow, and blue are the primary colors. But can anybody tell me why? What's special about them? Yep, you can make every color in the world by mixing those three colors. Plus, if you had black and white, then you could make them lighter and darker. How do you get those colors? Have you ever thought about that? You have to go to the store and buy them. You cannot mix them. And I learned that the hard way in 7th grade. When I was at Bristol School, and I was in charge of making posters for a basketball game. Anybody here from Bristol? Nope. So their mascot is a blue devil, and we had yellow and green paint. And I knew that yellow and blue made green, so I thought, well, then yellow and green must make blue. No, it didn't work that way. But the things you learn. So the next set on here are secondary colors. So again, it's another triad. We've got, where is it here? Purple. They call this purple. On a true wheel, it would be violet because purple has white in it. So violet, orange, and green. And what do you mix to make those? What two colors do you mix to make purple? If you had to guess from these three colors up here, do you think?
Is it red and blue?
It is. It's red and blue. Yep, it doesn't have any yellow in it. How about orange? red and yellow. And then last but not least, green, blue and yellow. Yep. So those three colors, as illustrated in this little picture here, look awesome together. Now tertiary colors are, technically speaking, all the other 6 colors that are in between. And you can tell which ones they are because they're hyphenated. So yellow, orange, red violet, blue green, and yellow green. How do you think you make a blue green? What 2 colors would you mix? Blue and green. How about yellow green? Yellow and green, yeah. So, you know, in real life, there are obviously a lot more colors in between these, and they're called intermediate. But so tertiary colors also look awesome together. Now, complementary colors, this is where it gets tricky. What holiday do a lot of people celebrate that uses these 2 colors? Yeah, Christmas. Have you ever wondered why red and green look so good together? Yeah, they are across from each other on the color wheel. So red and green are what are called complementary colors. What is yellow's complement? Yep, purple or violet. Blue-green's complement is red-orange. So it's spelled differently. It's not with an I, like when you compliment somebody, you say, hey, your hair looks awesome today. It's complementary because they complete each other. So we said a minute ago that yellow and blue make green. So each combination of 2 complementary colors has all 3 primaries in it. So it's a complete set. So blue, what's left over if we take blue away from the complements? Red and yellow. So blue's complement is orange. Okay. Analogous colors are any 3 or 4 colors that touch on the 12-color wheel. So if we go back up here, yellow, yellow, orange, orange, red, orange, that's a complementary set. Red, orange, red, red, violet, violet, that's a complementary set. I mean, sorry, analogous. Analogous, or touching. And so here's a picture of some reds and greens, but also some oranges and yellow greens in there. So it was taken from a set like this, maybe with a little bit of the red-orange in it. And so those colors harmonize really well. And then last but not least, we have warm colors and cool colors. So you can almost split the wheel right down the middle. Yellow, green, and red, violet they can be warm or they can be cool. So what you're going to do for homework or in class here if you finish the sketching part is you're going to look in magazines for papers that have the colors of the combination you want to do. So you're going to pick one of those combinations that we were just talking about. So who has a favorite out of all those combos? Anybody have an idea what colors they want to work with for this assignment? What would this be an example of? Yep, cool colors, or you could even say analogous because they would be, you know, greens and blue greens and blues are next to each other on the color wheel. Yep, so you're going to either choose primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors, one of these sets of complementary colors. You wouldn't do all 3 of them. One set of 3 or 4 analogous colors, or warm colors, or cool colors. And so when you've decided, you're going to look through the magazines. Ooh, this is a great one. I'll tell you right off the bat, purple is kind of a hard color to find in magazines for some reason, but this one's got some of it. So here's a red violet. So if I were doing one of the color combinations that included red violet, I would just rip this page right out. And what you're going to do is create a stack of papers that's just a collection of the colors you're going to use. Like this is, you know, sort of blues, yellowishes, and reds. It's kind of a variation of the primary colors. And then you're just going to take a photograph of it and upload it for this assignment. So it's just getting ready. It is a time-consuming step, but I don't think between the 2 of these things that you'll have more than an hour and a half worth of work, including what you do here today. All right, so any questions on what this part of the assignment wants you to do? It wants you to pick a set of colors and then find those colors in a magazine, rip them all out, and take a picture of them. All right, so then what we're going to do right here, right now, is create your subject. So we are going to start playing with color theory. You're going to make 2 sketches today. So you see how, I apologize, it's a little hard in here to see because, you know, it's a pretty bright morning. But these are all the same painting, but they're just done with different color combinations. And again, this is all the same graphic design, but as you can see, they've switched out the colors. This one says analogous. This is triadic. That one, can anybody read what that one says? Monochromatic and complementary. Now, I'm not sure where they came up with blue and red as complements, but we'll let them get away with that. So the way you use color in a piece of art can really affect the way it looks. So you guys are going to do a simple line drawing of an object on your piece of square paper. So in your packets, you should have some squares. If you brought your packet today, then you can use those. If not, I can just give you some fresh sheets to work on. So you're going to choose a simple object, and you can find a photograph of it. So somebody shout out an object. Pineapple, okay. So I'm going to put in pineapple. Going to go to images. So here, we've got all sorts of great images. What I would like you to do is choose something like this. If you're working from a photograph, if you have the object in front of you and you want to work from that, that's even better. But if you don't have a pineapple on you today and you want to do a pineapple, then you can work from a photograph. Please do not work from somebody else's drawing, okay? If you are working from something like this, somebody's already done the hard work for you. So I would rather you work from photographs. You can just Google your whatever you want to make, and you're going to do a simple line drawing of it. These guys, these first 2 on here on the left, actually have more detail than you're going to need because you're going to be replacing your drawing with torn pieces of paper. So you really only need like the outline and maybe some lines where the shapes change. So like on this tomato, the stems. And when you're done sketching that as big as you can in that square that I'm about to give you, you're going to put a line behind it to represent like a horizon line. It's going to break your background up into 2, which will give you more area for color change. And it's also going to keep your shape from looking like it's floating in space. Step number 4 says to trace or redraw your image onto a second piece of paper. We're going to use it in a month or so. So you're only going to need 1 of these drawings for this assignment, but it would be just as easy to trace it now and hang on to it for an upcoming assignment. All right, so that's today what you're going to start working on in class. Drawing, whoops, where did it go? Drawing a simple object, putting a horizon line behind it, and then starting to find your magazine pages. Who's got questions? Pretty straightforward? Awesome.